عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والنجم إذا هوى ما ضل صاحبكم وما غوى وما ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي يوحى. علمه شديد القوى ذو مرة فاستوى وهو بالأفق الأعلى. صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. From the last week, inshallah, continuing the story of Mairaj, the journey of the Prophet ﷺ, which took place to console the Prophet ﷺ and to show him how much valuable and how much honorable he is in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last week we had done the first part of the journey where the Prophet ﷺ traveled on ground from Makkah to Medina, Madian, and then finally to Masjid al-Aqsa. And in that gathering of all the prophets had gathered there before the Prophet ﷺ reached there, and after the Prophet ﷺ led them in Salah, all the key Anbiya delivered their speeches, and these speeches have been quoted in the books of Hadith. And finally the Prophet ﷺ delivered his speech, and that speech is very worthy of our understanding. We should really ponder about what the Prophet ﷺ has said. The Prophet ﷺ, after saying the hamd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, said that Alhamdulillahi alladhi ja'alani rahmatan lil alameen, arsalani rahmatan lil alameen, that praise be to Allah who has sent me as rahmatul lil alameen. Now the concept of rahmatul lil alameen should be understood. Some people, na'uzu billah, use this to derive a notion that when the Prophet ﷺ is rahmatul lil alameen, somehow he has to be present everywhere to be a rahmat for someone, which is absolute nonsense. Except from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, apart from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given this capacity to anyone to be omnipresent. The Prophet ﷺ has himself denied it. The Prophet ﷺ has explained the meaning of his being rahmatul lil alameen. The Prophet ﷺ is sent as a mercy to every single creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's many ways to it, many manifestations of it. At one point the Prophet ﷺ said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gathered all the arwah and asked them, Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Lord? I was the first one who answered Bala, which has been quoted in the Quran. And I was the one who taught the answer to all those creations, that what is the answer to this question. In following me, all the other prophets and all the other creations said Bala, definitely you are our Lord. This is a mercy of the Prophet ﷺ over all the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, in his life, the Prophet ﷺ showed mercy not only to human beings but also to the jinn kind, even to the animal kind. This famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he has said that when you eat and you leave behind the bones, then do not use them to cleanse yourself. The bones, do not use them for istinja, to cleanse yourself, to clean your bodily impurities, because that is something that your brother jinn kind consume. So the Prophet ﷺ is mindful. It is said in the Quran that the jinn kind came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked the Prophet ﷺ for hidayah. They heard the Prophet reciting the Quran, they brought faith on the hand of the Prophet. Similarly, there are so many stories where the Prophet advised his Sahaba, commanded his Sahaba to show mercy to the animal kind, take care of their needs. So the Prophet ﷺ being Rahmatul lil Alameen does not mean that the Prophet ﷺ has to be present everywhere. Then the Prophet ﷺ also said that وَكَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا, I have been sent towards all mankind, all people, as Bashir and Nadir. What is Bashir? Bashir is someone who gives a glad news about something that's coming forth. A good news about something that's coming forth. Prophet ﷺ gave the believers the glad tidings of entering Jannah and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if they obeyed the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ. Similarly, the Prophet ﷺ is also Nadir, and Nadir for all humanity, which means someone who warns, someone who tells people about the possible ugly outcome of their deeds. So if they do not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the outcome is going to be very, very scary. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a warner. He warned people. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explaining and giving a khutbah before all the Anbiya, in a gathering of Anbiya. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَأَنزَلَ عَلَيَّ الْفُرْقَانِ, which is the biggest miracle of the Prophet ﷺ, which is not given to any other Nabi. Furqan, which means the Quran, refers to the Quran. أَنزَلَ عَلَيَّ الْفُرْقَانِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me Furqan. فِيهِ bayan, it has the explanation. فِيهِ bayan لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ, of everything. So, ulama say that the Quran itself, if elaborated in the light of the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ and the actions of the Sahaba, has knowledge about everything. It contains clues to every aspect of our life. The need is that we understand it in the light of the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ and the practice of the Sahaba. Then the Prophet ﷺ talked about his ummah, وَجَعَلَ أُمَّتِي هُمُ الْأَوَّلِينَ وَالْآخِرِينَ. My nation, my ummah, has been made awwaleen and akhirin. They have been made the first and the last. And from several other narrations of hadith, we understand that this ummah is awwal in many regards. Although in terms of time, which is very obvious, in terms of coming into this world, this ummah is the last, which explains the akhirin part. But how are we awwaleen? The Prophet ﷺ has explained that this ummah will be the first ummah to enter Jannah. This ummah is the first in terms of ranking among the that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. So this is the meaning of this ummah being awwaleen and akhirin. And we got that all by virtue of being an ummati of the Prophet ﷺ, without us having any qualities. أخرجت للناس وجعل أمتي خير أمة أخرجت للناس. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made my ummah the best of ummah. أخرجت للناس. They have been produced for people. They have been produced for people. What is the meaning of this? They have been produced to build hospitals, to build roads for other people. No. These people have been produced to bring every single human being towards the right path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This ummah does not, the specialty of this ummah is not that they give material benefit to others, but they give a spiritual benefit to others. They straighten their hereafter. They straighten and provide for the biggest need of every creation, which is hidayah, guidance, and their connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the purposes of this ummah, and this is the specialty of this ummah. Then the Prophet ﷺ talked about certain personal features that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him. وَشَرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened, expanded my chest. And the meaning of that is that the chest of the Prophet ﷺ, the heart of the Prophet ﷺ was made such that the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was produced within the heart of the Prophet ﷺ. The nature of the Prophet ﷺ was the Sharia, and Sharia was the nature of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ's personality was such that he would not say or give a command except that it was the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the ayah that I said as well, in huwa illa wahyun yuha. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ says is wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has been given to the Prophet ﷺ by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَوَضَعَ عَنِّي وِزْرِي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has lifted my burden away from me. And that means that in the earlier part of prophethood, the Prophet ﷺ was very concerned about the people about whom he knew that they were not going to come to Hidayah. So the people who were turning away constantly, the Prophet ﷺ, out of his extreme mercy, he was very concerned about those people as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet ﷺ that you are not answerable for the people who do not believe in you. You are not answerable. Your job as a Nabi is to deliver, not to make them accept. Rasulullah has mentioned that this burden was such that it was crushing my backbone. This burden of nubuwwah, of taking the message and making people believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believe in one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was such a heavy load, such a heavy burden that it was crushing my bones under it. وَرَفَعَ لِي ذِكْرِي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated my remembrance for me. My name has been elevated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the explanation, in fact, it has been explained by, it is explained in a Hadith Qudsi as well, that the name of the Prophet ﷺ has been elevated such that it is taken with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. In the kalima, in the adhan, wherever is the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ's name is taken right after it. وَجَعَلَنِي فَاتِحًا وَخَاتِمًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made me the opener and the closer. The opener and the closer. Ulama have explained from several hadiths that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in terms of creation is the first Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is the first Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who was created. There's a hadith to this subject. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam somewhere has said that I was created 40,000 years before Adam was created. Another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that I was ana khatam al-nabiyyin, I was the khatim, the last Nabi, and Adam was between mud, clay and water. And wa khatima, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the seal of prophethood. There will be no prophet after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has come, and his sharia, his ways are the ways to follow till eternity. No Christianity will last, no Judaism will last, no other religion will last, and no other religion will be accepted in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, though they may be, after coming the Prophet ﷺ, following the true teachings of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, or Sayyidina Uzair, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. After the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, no matter how pious, how well-meaning of a Christian they may be, how pious, how well-meaning of a Jewish person they may be, they will not find deliverance in the hereafter, which is the meaning of the Prophet ﷺ is not only the Fatih, but also the Khatim. His Sharia is the last Sharia. His book is the last book. His deen is the last deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding and realization of the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done to us without us asking, by putting us in the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From there on, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam proceeded to traverse skies after skies. And there's details to it. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that there was a very beautiful stairway brought forth for me, which was surrounded by angels. I was flanked by angels on either side and the archangels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in state of such honor, I was asked to climb that stairway, and that stairway is that same stairway with which the arwah, the spirits of people, travel after they depart the body. So the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that when somebody passes away, you sometimes see them looking up in awe, and that is an awe. They are inspired, they are affected by the vision of that stairway through which their soul is going to be lifted up. Prophet ﷺ went to sky after sky after sky, met Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, Sayyidina Harun alayhi salam, other Anbiya. All of them greeted him with a lot of honor, did salam to him. The angels at every step was with the Prophet ﷺ, and finally the Prophet ﷺ reached the 7th sky, where the Prophet ﷺ saw Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam with his back against Baytul Ma'mur, which is, in simple terms we can say, which is the Kaaba of the angels. 70,000 angels, the Prophet ﷺ has told us, come and do tawaf of that Baytul Ma'mur, which is in direct alignment with the Baytullah Kaaba on the earth. 70,000 angels come every morning, and 70,000 come every evening, and every time that they come once, they will never be able to get their turn again till eternity. There's so many angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the Prophet ﷺ saw Sidratul Muntaha, which has been mentioned in the Quran as well, that yaghsha sidrata ma yaghsha, that berry tree. Sidratul Muntaha is the berry tree which was surrounded by what had surrounded it. And the understanding of ulama is that it was the angels that had got the news of the Prophet ﷺ coming, and they wanted to get a sight, a vision of the Prophet ﷺ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had permitted them to gather around Sidratul Muntaha, and they were in such huge number in hope of getting a sight of the Prophet ﷺ that they had fully covered the tree. Inshallah, we'll keep on talking about it next week, inshallah, if life permits. Brothers who have prayed to Sunnah.